So another bite-sized research lesson. As you can see, I'm in QE now. I'm in the dance studio, so I can crank things up a little bit more on the PA, and this is where we're going to be based when you come back for lessons in a week or so's time. So our clip today is Freddie King in the rhythm and blues section. We're going to add this to the work he did already in the document from last year. And Freddie King is the guy playing the red guitar there and singing a song called Tore Down. Have a little listen, then we'll think about what's going on. And you've probably already spotted, we've got a 12-bar blues pattern going on. Quite up-tempo. You can work out the BPM yourself. It's got a swinging sort of groove. It's got a shuffle sort of feel. That skippy kind of jazzy rhythm. You can't hear it too well on this particular clip, but the bass is doing a sort of walking pattern going up arpeggios. So we've got a walking bass, we've got a shuffle rhythm on the drums, 12-bar blues, and Freddie King is taking guitar playing literally into the 1960s. This was originally a hit in 1961, but he's taken the sort of style of blues playing that you got in the 1950s and taking it a step further. It's partly helped by the guitar. We've got him playing a Gibson ES335 guitar, which has humbuckers on. It's got a solid block of wood down the middle, and that meant it didn't feedback, so he could really crank it up loud. The other thing that's going on is guitar players like Freddie King start to use thinner strings. You know, originally blues was recorded on guitars where even the electric guitars would have had a wound G string, would have felt a bit more like a D string to us, and it'd be really hard to bend even the B string. So they tend to use a slide to get the glissando effects, you know, where that sort of effect. Freddie King's that new breed of guitar players in the late 50s who would bend the strings. Very influential on Eric Clapton. It was Eric Clapton's favourite guitar player. And the other thing that's helped and give him a nice kind of fat, rich tone is these guitar players tended to plug in Fender Bassman amps rather than guitar amps. So rather than a bright, slightly twangy tone from the Fender amps, they were getting a much darker, fatter tone that lent itself to solo playing, meant that all those notes just had a bit more bottom end to them. Which I'm trying to replicate with a much smaller amp here. So listen out for that. His guitar parts all have that kind of high register bend. We're in the key of D, so a lot of his kind of work's going on up around the 12th fret. Bend that G string on 12 or the B string on fret 13, and you can jam along with it a little bit yourself. Let's analyse the song element a little bit more though. Notice there's some horns in this arrangement, but they're not actually doing much. It's more just a punctuated kind of rhythmic accent. I'm tore down, bap, almost level with the ground, bap, bap, and they almost sound like they're playing in unison as well. There's not even any harmony there. Maybe they'll dress it up a little bit as they go along, but it's more punctuating the vocal and guitar work. Notice there's a call and response between his vocal line, I'm tore down, I'm almost level with the ground, and he's kind of answering himself on the guitar. Typical kind of blues lyric structure in that the first line gets repeated twice. I'm tore down, I'm almost level with the ground. I'm tore down, I'm almost level with the ground. I feel like this when my baby can't be found. And the classic kind of blues lyric in a way, he's saying I'm on the ground, you know, metaphorically. I've been wiped out because his baby's left him and he's heartbroken, so he's down and out. So that's where the lyrical theme comes from. Round about where I stopped it, I think we're going to get another key ingredient of rhythm and blues records, and it's that stop time accent where the band will stop, they'll accent beat one, they'll leave a little bit of a pause for the vocal to fill, and there'll be a couple of those accents before we pick up the groove again. Here it comes.
To the river to jump in, my baby showed up and said, I'm gonna tell you when. I'm almost done with the run. Feel like my
jazz accent on some of them in that they're. But basically we're stabbing the D root. It's like a ninth chord as well, but then you're just doing a D sharp to give it a little bit of a kind of jazzy feel in those accents. Try to ignore the dancers in the background there. This is a television show and they're actually working for the television show. They're not part of his tour and dance routine. Equally, the horn players probably wouldn't be used on a lot of the gigs. It would be mainly guitar, bass, drums and piano on these sort of bands when they're on tour. We'll listen to a little bit more.
In the morning and in the evening too. Every time you leave me, I get mad with you. When I'm tired, I'm so trouble with the crowd.
And another thing you're getting there, which is typical of the R&B style of singing, notice how he slips into falsetto on some of them notes. Well, I feel like this with my... And he's kind of using that almost sort of feminine end of his voice to give a bit more of emotion and feeling to the piece. He's going to go off in a guitar solo. You can perhaps see on the screen there, he's right up again, up fret 10, fret 12, and we're going to hear some sort of piercing, stinging guitar parts that are very kind of sort of modern in a way for the early 60s. It wasn't until you got to the mid-60s you're going to hear bands like Cream and Jimi Hendrix Experience playing guitar riffs a bit like this. So Freddie King was the godfather of that. Nice cool drum fill in the breaks there to take us back into the groove. That and he's playing like triplets around the kit, and that's we'll end on that note, I think. Write that up.